friends, Mr. Jordy here, and I thought today that I would show you a strategy for how to solve a word problem that we use in second grade. So, and I'm going to show you one strategy. Previously, I have made you a few videos to show you multiple strategies so that you'd have an option to pick the one that you wanted to use or that worked the best for you or for the problem that you were solving. Today, I'm going to break it down because that was a lot of information. So I'm going to break it down into just one strategy to solve. So I have a word problem here, and we are going to use the RDW times 2 strategy to solve this problem. So Mr. Jordy is going to read the problem because that's our R. The first thing we need to do is read it. So I'm going to read the problem. Tom ate 93 Skittles out of the bag. His brother Sam ate 65 Skittles. How many Skittles did Tom and Sam eat altogether? So once I've read that problem, it's important for me to pull out the important information. So I first need to think about, what do I know from this problem and what do I want to know? So what do I know? That's my K. And K is what I know. So when I look at this, I know that Tom ate 93 Skittles. I know this. That's not a question. That's not asking me anything. All that's doing is telling me something. That's a statement. There's this guy, Tom. He's eating 93 Skittles. His brother Sam ate 65 Skittles. Well, that's another thing I know. There's another guy here, and his name is Sam, and he is Tom's brother, and he ate 65 Skittles. So if you notice what Mr. Jordy is underlining here, I'm taking out a lot of these other words. I'm trying not to focus on those words because they're not really important to me solving this problem. So they put a lot of words in a word problem that you don't necessarily need to solve it. So I'm going to really focus down into what's really important for me to solve this problem. So is there anything else that I know? Well, no. When I read this again, those are the two things I know. First, that Tom ate 93 and that Sam ate 65. So that brings me to our W, and that's what I want to know. That's the question. So when I look at that, what do I want to know? Well, I want to know how many Skittles did Tom and Sam eat altogether. So I'm going to underline how many altogether. And that is my W. And now when I look at this, I can easily move on to my D, which is determining what math operation to use. And in second grade, we use 2 math operations. We add and we subtract. So I need to determine from how I text coded this problem whether I need to add or subtract. Then I'm going to use a strategy to do so. So I'm going to look at this and I'm going to read what I underlined. 93 Skittles. Sam ate 65 Skittles. How many altogether? Well, when I think about that, when I think about altogether, I'm visualizing there's this big bag of Skittles and there's Tom and there's Sam, and Tom eats 93 and Sam eats 65. So they want to know how many they ate all together. I'm putting them all together. I'm grouping them together. So whenever we group something together, we use the operation of adding. So we're going to add to solve this. If I was comparing them, so if I was looking at the difference between how many they ate, then I would have been subtracting. So it's really important to figure out, what are they really asking you? And what it comes down to on these word problems is, are they asking me to group them together, or are they asking me to compare? When they ask you to compare, you subtract. When they ask you to group together, you add. So we're going to add. So now I'm going to get to my D, and I'm actually already working on my D because the D on my RDW, we read it, we text coded it. This D was determine what math operation we're going to use and then to draw out a strategy. So we determined that we need to add from this problem. We determined that we needed to add. So I'm going to now draw out a strategy. And I said that I was going to show you how to do it pictorially with the HTO chart. And I am. So the first thing I need to do is to draw myself an HTO chart. H stands for hundreds, T stands for tens, and O stands for ones. And then I am going to write my problem. So I'm going to write this 93, and we know that we're adding, so I'm going to use the plus symbol, plus 65 equals, and that's our mystery right now. So we're going to work on this to solve it. So when we are adding using a pictorial method like this, the HTO chart, we are going to put our first number into the chart. So we have 93. So I'm going to put 93, represent it in this chart. I'm going to use place value discs. And in the number 93, I don't have any hundreds, so I'm not going to have anything in the hundreds. But I do have something in the tens. I have 9 tens. So I'm going to put in 9 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I do have 3 ones in 93, so I'm going to put the 3 ones. 1, 2, 3. Now, I like to put a little check mark above it to let myself know that I put in 93 into the chart. Now, because I'm adding, I need to put the 65 into the chart too. I'm going to group them together. I'm going to use a different color because I like to use a different color to differentiate. Now, when you're at home and you're using a pencil or using a dry erase marker, a lot of times what I do is I just color in the circle instead of changing colors, because a lot of times you're not able to change colors. So if you can't change colors, you could just use the same color and you could color them in. So 65, again, do I have any hundreds? No. Do I have any tens? Yes, I have 6 tens. So I'm going to put my 6 tens in here. So I'm going to count out 6 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And do I have any ones? Yes, I have 5 ones. So I'm going to put 5 ones into the chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I put both numbers in. So now it's my turn to calculate how many do I have in all. So when I look at this, I notice something right off. I notice that I've got an awful lot in the tens. Can I have this many tens in the tens place? No, I really can't. The highest number I can have of tens in the tens place is 9 of them. Well, then I have to make a exchange. So I can't have a number that big in the tens. It wouldn't make sense. So I need to make an exchange. I need to loop and I need to regroup. And that is what I'm going to do. So I am going to take some tens and I'm going to bundle them up. I'm going to group them together. And I'm going to make 100 out of them. Anybody know how many tens make 100? 10 tens make 100. So I'm going to loop 10 tens. Just like that. And I'm going to count them out so that you can see that 10 tens equals 100. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And then I'm going to arrow it into the hundreds. So now, I got to remember to make sure I put it in there. I'm going to have 100. So now I've made that exchange. Now I'm going to do my adding and see where I come up with. So I'm going to add my ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 8 in my ones. And let's check out how many tens I have. And it's super important that now when these are looped, these are like invisible because we exchange them for 100. So we can't count them again as a 10. So I've got to pretend that they're not there. So I'm going to count the tens that I have that are not looped. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tens. And now when I go to hundreds, I do have 100 because I had to make 100. So I have 1, 1. And therefore, I now know that when I took 93 and I added 65 to it, I came up with 158 Skittles. I wrote my number sentence, that's my W, and I am going to now write my statement. A statement is when I write it in words, the answer to match the word problem. So I'm going to say Tom and Sam ate 158 Skittles. That's my units. This is what I'm counting and I'm talking about. In all. Period. Now, could I write it differently? Sure, I could. I could write they ate 158 Skittles altogether. All I need to do when I write my statement is just to make sure that I am telling the who and the what. So, Tom and Sam ate 158 Skittles in all. And that, my friends, is how we solve a word problem using a pictorial method like the HTO chart and drawing it out.